Sleepy English Academy. Story 1. The Midnight Wanderer. In the bustling city of Atrian, there lived a young woman named Celine. She was 22, working an ordinary job in a coffee shop, serving the same faces every day. But she craved more than the routine, the predictable conversations, and the uneventful nights. One evening, after closing the shop, Celine decided to walk home by a different route. Instead of the well-lit streets, she took the narrow, dimly lit alleys that wound through the older part of town. The air was crisp, and the silence wrapped around her like a blanket. With every step, she felt a pull, like something was guiding her deeper into the heart of the forgotten city. As she turned a corner, she found herself in front of an old bookstore. Its sign was faded, and the windows were covered in dust, but the door was slightly ajar. Curious, Celine stepped inside. The scent of old paper and leather-bound books greeted her, and behind the counter sat an old man with piercing green eyes. Looking for something, the man asked without looking up from his book. Celine hesitated. "Just exploring," she said, though she wasn't sure what had brought her there. The old man smiled faintly and nodded toward a small, unmarked book on the counter. "Take that with you," he said. "It will show you what you seek." Puzzled, Celine picked up the book. It was light, with no title or author on the cover, just a simple leather binding. She thanked the man and left the shop, feeling an odd sense of purpose. That night, as she sat on her bed, Celine opened the book. It was filled with stories of ancient travelers, people who had wandered through time and space, seeking something greater than themselves. One story, in particular, caught her eye, a tale of a mysterious road that only appeared at midnight, leading those brave enough to walk it to their deepest desires. The next night, Celine returned to the alley, the book in hand. And at midnight, just as the story described, the road appeared, dimly lit by lanterns, winding off into the distance. Without hesitation, Celine stepped onto the path, her heart racing with excitement and fear. As she walked, the world around her began to shift. The city disappeared, replaced by rolling hills and starlit skies. Time seemed to stretch and bend, and soon she was standing in front of a massive, ancient tree. Its roots twisted and curled around the ground, and its branches reached up to the heavens. Beneath the tree stood a figure cloaked in shadows. "You've come far," the figure said in a voice that echoed like a distant memory. "What is it you seek?" Celine didn't know how to answer. She had been searching for something, an escape adventure meaning, but now that she was here, she wasn't sure. "Everyone who comes here is searching for something," the figure continued. "But the question is, are you ready to find it?" The air around them hummed with energy, and Celine felt a strange warmth fill her chest. She didn't know what awaited her beyond the tree, but for the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid. She nodded. The figure stepped aside, revealing a path leading deeper into the unknown. "Then go," the figure said softly, "and never look back." Story 2. The Glass City. Mira had always dreamed of leaving her small town. Every night, she would lie in her bed and stare at the stars, imagining herself somewhere else. Anywhere but the quiet, sleepy place where nothing ever happened. It was a dream she'd shared with her best friend Rafe since they were kids. One evening, after another long day at her monotonous job at the local diner, Rafe called her. "I found something," he said, excitement crackling in his voice. "What is it this time?" Mira asked, smiling at his enthusiasm. Just meet me at the hill. You have to see it for yourself. The hill he mentioned was just outside of town, a spot they had visited countless times to talk about life, the future, and the possibilities beyond the horizon. When Mira arrived, Rafe was already there, staring at something in the distance. She followed his gaze and froze. There, shimmering faintly in the twilight, was something she had never seen before, a vast, glowing city made entirely of glass, reflecting the fading light of the sunset. It looked like a mirage, but too real to be one. How? Mira started, but Rafe cut her off. I don't know. It just appeared. I was here an hour ago, and there was nothing. Then, out of nowhere, Mira couldn't tear her eyes away from the sight. The city seemed alive, with its towering crystal buildings casting a soft glow. We have to go, she whispered. Without waiting for a reply, she started down the hill. Rafe followed close behind, neither of them speaking as they approached the edge of the city. As they stepped onto the glass-like surface, the world around them seemed to shift. It was as if they had stepped into another dimension, one where time flowed differently, and the air hummed with a strange, electric energy. The streets were empty, but the city felt alive, as if it was watching them. Mira and Rafe walked in silence, their footsteps echoing off the gleaming buildings. Every corner they turned revealed something new, a garden of crystal flowers, a fountain that seemed to flow with liquid light, and staircases that spiraled upward into the sky. Who do you think built this place? Rafe asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I don't know, Mira replied, running her hand along the smooth surface of a nearby wall. But it feels like it's been waiting for us. They continued walking until they reached the center of the city, where a massive tower stood, reaching far higher than any of the others. Its surface was perfectly reflective, showing them their own images as they approached. Mira felt a pull, an invisible force urging her to go inside. She hesitated for only a moment before pushing open the heavy glass doors. The interior of the tower was even more breathtaking than the outside, with walls that seemed to pulse with light, and a spiral staircase leading up to the top. I think this is what we've been looking for, Mira said quietly. Rafe nodded, though his eyes were filled with uncertainty. But why us? Before Mira could answer, a soft voice echoed through the room. Because you are seekers, it said, though no one was there. Mira and Rafe exchanged glances but didn't speak. They knew somehow that this was what they had always been searching for. A place beyond the ordinary, a place full of mystery and possibility, a place that would change them forever. As they climbed the staircase, the city around them seemed to grow brighter, as if it were welcoming them. They reached the top of the tower and stepped onto a balcony that overlooked the entire glass city. The view was breathtaking. Do you think we'll ever go back? Rafe asked, his voice tinged with wonder and fear. Mira smiled, feeling the same pull she had always felt toward the unknown. I don't think we're meant to. The city below them shimmered, and in that moment, Mira knew they had finally found what they had been searching for all along.
Subscribe for more videos. Your support helps me create more content. Thanks for watching.